Good morning, students. Welcome to the data structure session. In this class, we are going to see the fourth unit. I'm going to start the fourth unit, non-linear data structures. Under that, we are going to see in detail about graph. Are you able to see the screen and is my voice audible? Just anyone unmute
Yes,
and
ma'am.
tell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Audible, ma'am.
So in the third unit, okay, thank you. Let's see a quick revision about the third unit. In the third unit, we saw the data structure trees. Yes, tree is also a non-linear data structure. In that we saw binary tree, binary search tree, threaded binary tree, AVL tree, so many different kinds of trees we have seen. Okay. Now in this unit, we are going to see about graph data structure. Have note and pen with you. Try to take running notes. Repeatedly, we are telling this one. Before getting into that, I want to ask you a simple difference between tree and graph. I hope you are all very familiar with the graph. Just the basic definition of graph because you are studying in mathematics. You might have studied in mathematics. You are studying now also. Simply, I am asking what do you mean by graph? What do you mean by graph? Can anyone tell?
Ma'am, graphical representation of data.
That graphical representation only I am asking. What is graphical representation? Yes, you are right. Representing graphically. What is graph? How a graph will look like generally?
Ma'am, there are many types of like bar graph
Yes, good.
and
Bar graph, line chart, bar chart, so many things
yes,
are there.
pie
Yes,
charts.
yeah, all are examples for graph. I want the answer. Just we are having graph means what? We are having some nodes. And all those nodes are connected by edges. Yes, you are right. Graphical representation. Graphical means using nodes and edges. Got it? So, this is the definition for graph. Simply a graph is nothing but it contains vertices and edges. Capital V stands for vertex. Capital E stands for edge. Okay. So just first look at the blue color diagram. I didn't mention any name. I have mentioned two nodes. This circle denotes the node. These two nodes, if they are simply present, means there is no use at all. They should be connected. They are connected using a term called what? Edge. So this line is called as edge. So this is a representation of a graph. Okay. Similarly, look at that second diagram. I have two vertices. Just I named those nodes as node 1, node 2 and node 3. We can call it either as node or vertex. Both are same. Similarly, this node 1 and 3 are connected through one edge. We can call it as what? E1, edge 1. Then 2 and 3 connected to another edge, E2. We can name it, we can label it using any name. Then 1 and 2 are connected using another edge, E3, like that. So, all the nodes are connected through edges. So, this representation is called as graph. Yes, you might think that only 5 slides are there. Just I want to play you a simple video. That video is for only 2 minutes. You will get a detailed thing about the applications of graph. After getting into this slide, I will play that video. So, a graph consists of two sets. You can refer the definition. A finite non-empty set of vertices. That means what? It should contain at least one vertex. If I have at least one edge means what? There must be compulsorily two nodes. Only if I have two nodes, I can connect through one edge. Okay. So it contains non-empty set of vertices and a finite set of unordered pair of distinct vertices. That means it's not necessary that they should be ordered. I may have below this diagram 1, 2, 3 and all. I may have 4, 5. So many nodes I can have. It's not necessary that all the nodes should be numbered. You can have it in any order, but all the vertices, those vertices can be connected through the edges. Yes. Vertex, its plural name is called as vertices, otherwise called as node. It is the fundamental unit by which we are forming the graph. Yes. Then edge, that edge can also be called as what? Arc or link. It gives the relationship between the two vertices. Okay. So just I will draw in a simple board. So this is called as a node. Simply this is called as a node. Similarly, another node I am placing, another node. So I can have n number of nodes. Yes, but here this representation we can't call it as a graph because it should contain vertex and edge. I can have edge from any node to any other node. This is one edge. This can be called as another edge. Okay. This one is another edge. I can have like this. Can we say this representation as a graph? Yes, we can call it. It's not necessary that all the nodes should be connected. There is no connection between these two nodes. Yes, but we can say it as a graph because we have some certain set of nodes and some certain set of edges. Simply, I have only two nodes. I can call it as a graph also. Yes, this representation can also be called as graph. Under this, we have so many terminologies. We will discuss now what is meant by directed graph, undirected graph, everything. Yes, now I want to ask you what's the difference between tree data structure and graph data structure? Can anyone tell, or you can put it in chat? Yes, Aditi told a graph is a collection of points called vertices. Good. Now, tell me the difference between tree and graph. Just make it fast. I need answers in chat, or you can unmute and tell. What's the difference between tree and a graph? We know the tree data structure. Tree consists of what? It contains collection of nodes. A parent node or root node should be there. Then we are connecting through edges only, same representation only. But what is the difference? Just if all
if it is a tree.
Yes.
If it is a tree, only two sub branches will be there, ma'am. But if it is a graph, you can make any number of paths from it.
No,
from one.
For binary tree only, your answer is right. For binary tree, I can have only two child nodes or two children nodes. Why can't we call this representation as a tree? Yes, assume that.
Yes, ma'am.
A tree can have any number of branches. Yes, just like our normal tree that we are physically seeing. It can have n number of branches. Yes, don't get confused. I'll say the difference, but this is not the right answer. Okay, this is also a tree. But if at some point, if I am connecting the nodes through edges, if there is a closed loop at one point, then it becomes a graph. Okay, again I repeat. For example, you are having like this. Yes, look at this diagram itself. Now this is called as a tree data structure. Okay, I can easily convert this tree data structure into graph by simply connecting any one particular edge or any one particular part. Suppose I am connecting this one. Okay, I have connected this. I connected this. That means these two nodes are connected. There is path from this node to this node. That is the meaning. Now this tree data structure become a graph. Got it? So I have different number of nodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 nodes are there. And different edges. So many edges are there. Also, one more thing. It's not necessary that all nodes should be connected through to all other nodes. That is called as fully connected graph. There may be some, there may not be some edge. Suppose, assume that here, and it's now also we can call this as a graph. Because at some part, here this is closed. I have connected all the edges. Okay. We have certain set of nodes, and those nodes are connected through edges. Now, don't think that this node should be connected. It's necessary that this should be connected to this node. It's not necessary. If I don't want this edge means we can remove that one. Okay. So this is the general difference between a tree and a graph. There is self loop in a graph. That means I can connect this node to itself. Sorry. You can go with pen. Suppose this node I can connect using, that means the node pointing to itself. That is called as self loop. But that self loop is not present in tree data structure. That is the difference between a graph and a tree. Okay. We can have self loop. That means a node can be connected to itself. I'll tell the applications of these in the forthcoming classes. But self loop is not possible in tree. Okay. So now let me go back to this one. I hope you are just familiar with the introduction. You get some rough idea about graph. Okay. Now let me play this video. Now listen this video. It's an application of graph. Okay. Then I will explain those applications in detail. We are commonly using the graph data structure in all our fields. In all the fields we are using. Just a simple thing. Going to college from our place. Normally there are different routes possible. Yes, for example, distance from Velachery to Pundamalli. I can have different paths. I can have different routes to reach Pundamalli. But what we will choose? We will choose the minimum distance. Yes, minimum distance we will obviously choose because it will save the time. The same thing is used in the graph data structure. We can have different paths to reach a particular node, but in that we are using some algorithms to choose the to find the shortest path and to reach the destination in a quick time. Okay. Now look at this video. Yes. I I hope something you got from that video. Whatever we are using in our day-to-day applications, in all those things, we are using the graph data structure only. Yes? Wait for some time. So, we are using graph in computer science mainly to represent the flow of computation. That means how the program flow goes, how the execution works. Suppose in a simple program, you are using different functions. For example, you are going to write a C program for doing arithmetic operations. For addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, you have written some different subroutines or different functions for add, sub, and multiply, divide. So, in the normal flow program execution, if you have given the input means, after that you will give the option. Option 1 means addition, 2 means subtraction, like that. 2 means subtraction. So, where the control will go? It will go to that particular subtraction function. It will execute all those statements. Those control flow, those system flow will be represented using the graphs. Yes. In that video, you saw the social media. We are using so many different kinds of social media. Just a simple thing, Google Maps, that is Facebook. The third one, Facebook's. All the users are considered as the vertices. Yes, how they are connected? Only if you accept your friend request, yeah, or you are inviting some other to accept your request. So now you both are connected. Assume that student A and B. So A is one person, B is another person. They are connected if they are friends. Then A can have some 100 friends. Those 100 friends can be mutual friend for what? For whom? B. B can have some 20 friends. So from B I can have what? C, D, E, like that. So like that all those users are connected. Yes, that is done through the graph data structure only. So this Facebook is a very best example for undirected graph. By the name itself, you can guess undirected means there is no direction. It's not necessary that only A to be connected to B. A connected to B and also B connected to A. There is no arrow mark between those nodes. That is called as undirected graph. Now look at the second point, Google Maps. We are familiar, we are using day-to-day life. Google Maps. In that Google Maps also graph data structure is used for building the transportation system. You have seen in the video flight network, road network. It's not necessary that two networks only. Railway network, ship network, in everything we are using only the graph data structure because we are searching each and every place in each and every corner through the Google Maps. Just think of the idea how that Google Map comes. So that person who has invented that Google Map, he is very, very intelligent because just we are switching on the Google Map, we are driving the car, just we are moving in that direction. It will give the shortest path only. 99%. Somewhere a flaw may occur. Okay, 99%. Suppose if I want to move from same thing, Velachery to Punamalli, I will start the Google Map means it will show the shortest distance. Here they are using the graph data structure. So that the road that connect the two vertices, that is called as what? Edge here. Okay, look at that last point. In the normal World Wide Web, all the web pages can be considered as vertices. Okay, so if I go to one web page, I may have different links. From that link, I can traverse to the next web page. That second web page can have different links. From that, I can go to another page like that. Okay, so and that also we are using the graph data structure. This is an example for directed graph because from U, I can move to V only. U means assume that two vertices A and B. A has one web page. From that A, I can move to V. Only if there is a link to page V. Yes. Similarly, I can move from U to W if there is a link, if there is a path. So this is an example for directed graph. I can't move from V to U because the reverse path is not possible. I am going in the forward direction. That is the directed graph. So your Facebook is an example for undirected graph. Facebook, WhatsApp, any social media. I want to ask you how the graph data structure can be used in chemistry field. You are very well familiar with the chemistry. So just think where the graph data structure is used in chemistry, in the field of chemistry. Just I give you 1 minute time. Think fast and put it in chat. In chemistry, you have studied so many concepts. And just simple thing I'm asking, very simple concept only. Can anyone guess? Just I meant the example of chemistry. We are using graph in all the fields. Or you can say it, you can tell the role of graph in medicine field. Be interactive. All these things are related to our real-time applications, real-world things only. Though it is right or wrong, open your mouth. Anyone? Atoms and molecules. Very good, Shrutika. Because chemistry, very fundamental thing is molecules. We are having different covalence bond. So covalence bond. Yes. So in that we are connecting all those bonds. And the diagram you are having different nodes and all those are connected through edges. Okay. Mortality in medicinal field. Good, Priyadarshini. Good thinking. Medicine field we are using in so many applications. Just to find the cells, cancer cells or tumor cells in the brain. Let's think our brain. We are having so many neurons, thousands and lakhs of neurons. All the neurons are connected. Yes, just assume the graph data structure. We are having many blood cells, etc. In that, we are, that is, doctors are making diagnosis to find the tumor, where the tumor occurs. Okay, which part is getting, which part get affected. In that, they are using the graph data structure only. Yes, so you can look at that last point. In chemistry, we are using graph for study of molecules, study of atoms. Yes, Shrutika told rightly. And construction of bonds. So many bonds, so many different kinds of bonds are there. There we are using the graph data structure. Next, in operating system. You will study this paper in detail in the 4th semester, but you are familiar with this word. Operating system is nothing but it's the interface between whom? Between the user and the computer. Very simple definition. It acts as an interface between software and the hardware. Without OS, we can't execute any program at all. Just assume that I'm having this PPT. Without any configuration, without OS, I can't make it visible to you. So in OS, we are having resource allocation graph because in simple words, I put how the programs get executed means we are having a number of programs in our system. Yes, any program that is in execution that is called as process. I can have different programs. I saved so many programs, Java program or C program in my system. At that particular instance, which program I am running, which program I am going to execute, that becomes the process. Okay, so that process will use what? All the resources. Yes, all the resources that are present in the system. So these are considered as vertices. The process using the keyboard, input device, input resource. So suppose a process using the memory, process using the CPU. During execution, CPU will be used. So all those are the resources. They are connected through the edges. So many processes will be in queue. If one process get executed means then the second process which is waiting in the queue, it will execute, it will use the CPU. Then after its completion, the third process will use. Like this, the scheduling will be done. This is called as process or job scheduling. You will see it in detail in OS. Okay. So in that part also, we are using the graph data structure only. Yes. So now we move on to different terminologies. So far we have told just the basic definitions only. Shall we call it as a graph, this representation? Yes, this is a graph. It is having 6 vertices. The vertices are capital A, capital B, C, D, E, and F are called as vertices. You can have path from any node to any other node. Yes, you can see that F node, this F node, it has self loop. That self loop name, this edge name is called as what? J. The small letter, a, small b, small c, d, all are called as what? Edges. Yes, this line. Is it directed or undirected? There is no arrow mark. This is called as undirected graph. That means A can be, that is from A I can pass to B. Similarly, from B I can have path to A. That is the meaning of undirected graph. Okay, so in this way we can represent the graph. From this graph I can separate different subgraphs also. Yes, this part, this ABC itself, this can also be called as graph. Similarly, this B, D, and C. Okay, this particular part can also be called as a graph. C, D, E called as graph. D and F itself, can we call it as graph? Yes, because I have two nodes, minimum one edge is there. Here I have three edges. Why I have mentioned separately means from D to F I am connecting through H. From F to D I am connecting through node I. But in simple words I can put it as a, I can use as some same edge also. Just for differentiation I have mentioned. Okay. Now we see some small definitions about the graph. What is the node? What is source node? What is destination, etc. Because somewhere we have to start. You can start from any point, either A or B, C, D or anything. From that particular node, you are going to traverse. You are going to visit all other nodes. Okay. So for which node we are going to start, that is called as source node. Where I am going to end, that is called as destination node. Yes. Here A and B are the vertices. Capital A and B are vertices. How they are connected? A and B are endpoints of which edge? Of edge A. Endpoints means small. The vertices which are connected through that edge. Okay. Now can anyone tell what are the endpoints of edge G? Small g. What are the endpoints of edge G? Edge G means this line. Yes. This line is connected between whom and whom? Between the vertices capital D. Yes, capital D and capital E. So those are called as the endpoints for that particular edge. That is how I am connecting. Where I am going to connect, which nodes I am connecting. Those are called as the endpoints. These are all definitions you have to remember. Next. Now look at the difference between this part. Here in this diagram, A and B are connected. Same thing through edge A only. But here there is a arrowed line. There is a line with arrow mark. Vertex A is the origin of edge A because from A there is a path to B. Yes, look at the difference between this representation and this one. Here I can tell there is a path from capital A to capital B. Similarly, there is a path from B to A also through that edge. But here there is path from A to B only. There is no path from B to A. Yes, so here this part, this capital A is called as the origin of edge A. But for B and D, we can't tell B as the origin of small b because B and D are not directed. Okay, because it's a normal line denotes bidirectional only. There may be path from capital B to capital D or capital D to B. But in this representation, for this only I have mentioned specifically. So vertex A is called as the origin of edge A. Yes. Next. So origin means there should be some destination. Where the edge goes, it points to the vertex B. So this B is called as the destination. Got it? Origin can also be called as source node. Source and destination. These two words you have to remember because you will be given a graph structure having some 10 to 15 nodes with many number of edges. You have to find the shortest path from a particular node from A to F like that. I want to find the shortest path to travel from Chennai to Trichy. I may have different, I am having different routes. I can choose bypass, I can choose normal path. In that normal path itself, we can have different directions. Through different places, we can reach. But we have to choose the shortest path. So in road construction, railway construction, that is flight transport, everywhere they are using the graph data structure. Okay, so here B is the destination of the edge A. Now, the same diagram only for different definitions I am mentioning separately. Now, here A and B are said to be adjacent because there is an edge connecting A and B. I can't say A and D are adjacent, capital D. Yes, because there is no path. There is no direct path from A to D. Okay, if there is endpoint, if the nodes are considered as endpoints, means then that those particular vertices are considered as adjacent. Clear? Adjacent means nearer, but there should be some edge. Okay, so A and B are adjacent because they are the endpoints of the particular edge A. Can we say A and E as adjacent? Anyone? Can we say vertex A and vertex E as adjacent? Can put it in chat also. No, only through interaction you can get more clear idea. No, because they are not the endpoints. A and E are not directly connected. A connected to C, from C only E is connected through edge F. So they are not adjacent. Now you can say D and F as adjacent. Similarly, C and D are adjacent. Adjacent means if that edge has those two endpoints, then it is called as adjacent. B and D are adjacent. D and E are adjacent. This word is very, very important. Finding the adjacent nodes. Because we are going to represent graph in two different ways. Adjacency list and adjacency matrix. Without knowing this meaning adjacent, we can't get into graph data structure. We can't get any clear idea. Yes. So here B and C are adjacent. Now tell me, is it possible to have more than one adjacent node for any node? Node means vertex only. Is it possible to have more than one adjacent node? Yes, it is possible. Let's see. For the node B. For the node B, what are all the endpoints? What are the edges here? A. That A is connected to B. Similarly, I am having the edge D to C. Similarly, I am having edge B to D. So, here three adjacent nodes are there. For which vertex? For the vertex B. Got it? For the vertex B, again I am repeating, capital A, capital C and capital D. There are three adjacent nodes for this node B. Okay. It's not necessary that there should be only one or two nodes. I can have any number of adjacent nodes. Similarly, from C, what are the adjacent nodes? C to D, there is a path. So D is adjacent node. C to E, there is a path. So E is adjacent node. Similarly, C to A, C to B. So for C, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 adjacent nodes. Got it? So in this way, we are telling whether the vertices are adjacent or not. If the two vertices are considered as endpoints for that particular edge, that means if there is an edge from that particular node, means then that is then the other node can be called as the adjacent node. Now look at this terminologies. An edge is said to be incident on a vertex. If the vertex is one of the edges endpoint. Incident means where I am going to point, where the edge is going to end, or where the edge is going to start. Based on that, we are calculating the outgoing edges and incoming edges. Outgoing edges means what? From that vertex, how many edges are leaving? Those are called as outgoing edges. Yes. So that vertex is considered as the source vertex or the origin. From that particular vertex, how many edges are leaving out? It's not getting in. So those are called as outgoing edges. Similarly, incoming edges means what? For that particular vertex, how many nodes are coming? That means how many edges are pointing to that particular vertex. That is called as incoming edges. These are very simple definition only. You can have a look at it. But in a undirected graph, we can't say how many nodes are incoming and how many nodes are outgoing. In a directed graph only we can say. But in an undirected graph, we can see whether a node, that is whether an edge is incident on that particular node or not. Yes. So look at this one. An edge is said to be incident on a vertex if the vertex is one of the edge's endpoints. Clear? Look at this diagram. Here we have edge A. Where that edge A is incident, it is incident on vertex V. Similarly, edge H. Just for differentiation, to make you clear, it's mentioned in different color. Edge H is incident on vertex Z. Similarly, edge G is incident on vertex Y. That means assume that edge G starts from X node. It is incident on Y node. There is some endpoint for that particular edge. That is called as incident. It's very clear with the directed graph only. It will be more clear with the directed graph because in the directed graph only we can check whether the edges are outgoing or incoming. Because here this B, the small b edge, it can be either leaving vertex V or it is going to incident on that particular vertex. But in a directed graph, it will be more clear. Look at this diagram. Look at the node W. Just vertex or the node W. How many edges are passing from that particular node? How many edges are leaving? In degree or out degree, we can say it in other words also. Incoming, outgoing, otherwise called as in degree or out degree. So how many nodes are passing from that particular, how many edges are passing from that particular node W? So there is one edge called D, which is incident on V. Similarly, another node E, incident on X. There is another node F, incident on Y. So there are three outgoing edges. From which node? From which vertex? W. Okay. So these are the outgoing edges of vertex W. Have note and pen and write it, then only it will be more clear. Okay. Now tell me in this diagram itself, how many edges are incoming to that particular vertex W? There is only one edge. Incoming means it is reaching the it's reaching the particular vertex W. There is only one edge, C. From which vertex? From vertex U. So one incoming edge and three outgoing edges. So this is called as finding the in degree and out degree. Now tell me, what is the in degree for X? Make it fast. We will finish with this. We will discuss in the 5th hour remaining things.
4, ma'am.
Incoming, in degree or incoming node is 4. Yes, because there is one edge small b, another edge E, small g, and one more thing I. Don't forget this one. Okay, so there are 4 incoming edges. How many outgoing edges? Only one edge. H is there. Okay, in this way we are calculating the in degree and out degree, because with this you are going to find how many paths are possible for moving from Chennai to Trichy through different cities, through different places. That intermediate places can be called as nodes. Yes. So the remaining things we will see in the next class. With this, how you are going to find the neighbor node, etc. Hope you are clear. Any doubt? Put it in chat. Are you clear with the basic terminologies we have discussed so far? Yes, good. Feel free to ask if you have doubts, because this is a very fundamental part of graph data structure. If you have doubts, you can ask during the 5th hour, 1:15 to 2 o'clock. Be on time to the class. Okay. If no doubts, you can leave the session. You can go for break. Thank you, students. Thank you all.